On this episode, I interviewed Jesse Burrell, drops tremendous amount of nuggets, knowledge bombs. I actually had to stop and kind of bookmark some of the things about wisdom and what not to do. Look for that towards the end of the podcast. It is just, sage advice. He has built a tech SaaS company from nothing, not being a tech entrepreneur, solving his own problems, and in 3 years pushing over 60 million in revenue, has a goal to be 100 million in revenue within 5 years, and really building what could be $1 billion value company with no experience doing that. Problem solving and solving his own problems. It is a very, very exciting story. Look out for some nuggets that he drops, some tactical books that he's read that he believes that people are missing out on and just not familiar with it at all in the space, as well as being an investor, investing in real estate and in notes, and hear about his opinions on crypto, the stock market, and even NFTs. And this exciting episode with Jesse Burrell. Jesse, it's awesome to get a chance to kind of sit down and dissect some investments. Not specifically anyone in detail, but I'm curious to dive a little bit more in the company you've built. And now, what's the next Jesse 2.0 version of life, or maybe it's a 1.5 version. You and I connected through a mutual friend, Logan Fulmer.
Yep.
And then we kind of are sitting on a quasi private equity or venture, we're looking for deals to place money into rocket ships that can 10x or 50x our money. And so we've had a few interactions there. But for my own sake, you didn't just start here. You have now built a SaaS company, built a pretty big company. I mean, you're pushing close to 9 figures. I mean, or at least I think that's the goal. And so tell me what is the genesis of you becoming a tech entrepreneur investor?
Honestly, it really is how a lot of companies start. Is I was, flipping homes and wholesaling real estate, buying some rental properties, and we didn't have the tools that made our businesses efficient to the way we wanted to. And my now partners, Annie and Evo, we each had separate real estate investing operations, and we both just started helping each other. They really struggled on the culture, sales, people side of things, where my strengths lie. And then they both are very system and process oriented, normally where visionaries' weaknesses lie. And that's where mine lied. Laid. And so he started helping. We were building stuff for each other's companies, or he was building them and I was using them. But that's how it really started. Was we saw a need in our industry on the real estate investing side to streamline a lot of stuff through software to really organize your business. And it just kind of snowballed from there, turning into a multi-product line for real estate investors. And now a lot of our technologies are going to be, we're adding other verticals, because we learn our platform is more residential, people that need information and data on residential properties. So that has to deal with, a lot of different verticals. Real estate agents, we haven't tapped into as well. Mortgage officers, home services is a huge one, roofers, contractors, solar. And we're really starting to talk to those people now. And it's really exciting for them to get excited about some of the cutting edge stuff that we've built that they can now use to do more lead generation to, residential and commercial properties.
So why don't I know a little bit about, what the genesis of your software, so skip tracing and data to do, wholesaling and generate, off market leads. So maybe for the people, like dive into that. Like what is the, the base initial service that you guys put together, and now you're stacking multiple products or services on top of that, and then how is that now merging into this applicable home services contractors, real estate agents, not just the real estate investor?
Yeah, I'll start with simplifying it. It's really what our products provide to people is direct to seller sales. If just think of it generally like that, is when you're wanting to market direct to some type of property owner, commercial or residential, if you're trying to get in direct contact with them, to sell them a service product, whatever you're selling them, that's really what we're meant for is, and we have a whole suite of products, kind of an all-in-one platform for you to do a lot of that lead generation. So to back the story up, it started with skip tracing and wholesaling and, flipping homes or people that want to go direct to seller. You need, phone numbers and emails, accurate contact information to reach out to them and see if they have any interest. And that's where it really started is we found some data sources, and we're basically, when we started just wholesaling it, had a big contract, got our costs down, and then, sold it for more. And then we were doing the same thing a lot of people were doing. So I looked at my partner and said, we need to be better. We need to evolve. There's were some big influencers in there, and we didn't have a big online presence. So I was like, how do we create a better product? And then I could go to people that aren't selling it, the influencers, and have them become affiliates. And that was a huge strategy for us. So we actually created our own API and proprietary algorithm to where we actually started sourcing from multiple data sources and indexing those phone numbers and contact information to be much more accurate than just one source. And from there, we were able to create a competitive advantage for people wanting to use our product. And it's just evolved from there. So that's how the batch skip tracing started. And then a lot of people were being like, well, we want to text, or we want a cold call, or, you know what I mean? So that was just, the phone numbers. Now, how do people actually, use systems to do the outbound reaching to the customers? And so we started creating those products. So then we created something called BatchLeads Stacker at the time, to where it was just managing your lists and your data. So you weren't re-skip tracing the same phone number twice. You're able to stack different property distress indicators to have a more likely person that's interested in selling. And then from there, we added in actually our skip tracing into that software. Then we added a text message application, and then we added a list application. So now you could get our list from us, because people are just putting their, lists that they were buying from title companies or from Rebo Gateway or from, Core Logic in there. We're like, well, we could go find that data source and then just make it easier to where it's more of an all-in-one solution. And then we added direct mail, and now we have so it's really an all-in-one platform. And then on top of that, we really wanted a dialer, because a lot of people like to cold call and dial people. So we have a separate product called Batch Dialer, but the two products talk to each other, so you could push data back and forth to each other for them to be able to lead generate and keep track of, their leads. And it's basically, we're doing everything that you need to do. Once they say yes, you should be pushing it into your CRM from there. So it's really just, it's a mini CRM for lead generation, but once it becomes a lead, you should be shoving it into your CRM and then having your own sequence of how you follow up or try and close that sale from there.
So what has been, that was 2018 that you started this?
Started the skip tracing. The end of 2019 or early 2020 is when the BatchLeads, now it's called BatchLeads, really started to gain some traction. And then now we do have a enterprise product, and we're also building out our other side of our dialing product, where we'll have an inbound side. So, people that are dialing out of their CRMs, people that are call centers, all the inbound traffic. We kind of had a long product strategy on that, to where when we were building our outbound dialer, we created a lot of technology, because we knew we were going to hit this point eventually, because all the big dialing solution companies have both inbound and outbound solutions. And it's it's a much stickier product. We'll be going to small and medium businesses to where once you're tied into, their CRM or to their type of way that they're taking inbound calls, they're not likely to leave because it's a big part of what they do.
I mean, this really sounds like it's so much, white space as far as, opportunity that exists out there, and obviously that you're building it on a, this SaaS, program. And maybe that's just my own naivety to the space. Like, so, but who are you seeing as like competitors, and then how are you kind of staying ahead of them, or just innovating? Is it through business acquisitions? Is it developing more products just from problems that you've had? What is kind of that vision to go to, 9 figures?
So we've created all the technology we built already. All of it was built on one singular API. So what we've been able to do is now we're offering enterprise solutions to big data companies because we have all these different endpoints we had to build for ourselves, for our dialer, for our skip tracing, for our lists, for our comping, for all these different things. And there's a lot of big businesses that like to chop up and use this data. So we actually were able to create an enterprise API product for some large companies, and that is just launching this year. We had our soft launch in December but those are large contracts, bigger accounts. So it's just having a few different verticals and a few different products on how we could offer them to people, because a large enterprise customer isn't going to use BatchLeads. That's for someone that is small and generating some outbound leads. Bigger companies could use it, but the real big companies are just going to want the big data, and they already have the way they built a lot of the platforms that we already offer to people.
You have 250 employees now?
I just looked, it's like 243 between in-states and international. And then I think we have about 70 W-2'd in the States, give or take.
So what has been, I mean, that's a tremendous growth in a short time period. What are some of your favorite failures during that time? Because I mean, and maybe it's just been a hockey stick and nothing but aces. But in my experiences, all the businesses I've built had lots of roller coaster rides.
Um, Honestly, it's been really learning and taking feedback from customers, because when you build a product, it's not perfect, and you have to be very honest and intentional with when you start a product that it's not the greatest yet, it's not the best yet, but help us be a part of being that industry leading product. And we've been able to get our products there, and we kind of have a better go to market strategy. And when it is a new product, on how we're not over promising and under delivering, we're under promising and over delivering. And we're giving them price breaks to use us. And we gave when we started Batch Dialer, we really gave people huge discounts to be a part of that beta testing, and let them know that, hey, you're helping us build something special for you, your business, and a lot of people's businesses, and we really appreciate you helping us get there. And really, that was something we had to learn, because on BatchLeads we didn't quite do it that way. So with each product, we really learned on how to get the product to the standard that people expect from batch products.
Yeah, that's a key point, and I think that's you kind of fell on there. The customer experience or client experience, whatever you want to call them there. But if you can kind of dive into that, what are some things and lessons you've learned about customer experience versus customer service or customer relations, where a lot of people think of it in a different way?
Yeah, a lot of people think customer service is customer success, and they're two totally different things. And I've had to learn a lot and read a lot, because as we talked offline, I didn't plan on building a big software company. We were just trying to solve problems at first. Then we soon realized that we had no idea what we're doing, and we had to get some coaching, some consulting. Luckily, I have two brilliant partners by my side too, to where we're all very eager to learn, read a ton, watch a ton, find the right consultants to help us when we have no idea what we're doing. And, we're still using those type of people, because as you grow to different levels, we're still experiencing this together, and it's nothing any of us have experienced. So it's a really fun journey to go on, for sure. But when it comes to customer success, that is my biggest obsession. Without treating customers right and making sure that they're having a good journey and experience with your product's not going to be successful. So when people start feeling themselves because they're making a bunch of money, you have to be like an artist, right? Their fans matter. If you start treating your fans badly, they're going to turn on you, and you have to be very well aware that the customers are the ones that make you successful, and you can never forget that. So really having a defined journey for them, understanding that being ahead of, really being ahead of their expectations. And think of, when you go to a restaurant, you want them to refill your water before you have to ask. That's the approach that I take on customer success, is give them all the tools. Don't expect them to go find them, and be proactive, because customer service, that's reactive. Someone's having a problem reaching out to you. Customer success is you reaching out before they have that problem, or before they need that glass refilled, is making sure they know all the tools available if they're having questions, or if they're not super tech savvy. We have where people could sign up for one-on-ones. Every single person has a live onboarding that they can attend. We are obsessed with making sure that someone that signs up could have success with our product and knows how to use it. And that is probably the most important thing to me in the whole entire business.
Man, I love hearing that, because that's just like, so many companies don't do that right. And I think that's a difference maker for you guys. And obviously it's lending to your meteoric success so far. But there's a goal, 5 years to 9 figures.
Yeah, we're, so we're 2 years away. I'm hoping to get to around 60 this year is our goal. And then from there, get to 100. So we've at least doubled or tripled every year the first 3 years. So I'm being a little, obviously, as you grow, it's harder to double or triple again, because you have to add verticals, you have to have bigger budgets, you have to get the right people in place to scale. But I'm lucky enough to have an incredible executive leadership team that have been a huge part of us growing. And the other thing is, we can't do it without the team. And the three of us founders know that, is none of this happens without the great team that's around us. And like, just kudos to everyone that's so dedicated to, our products, our vision, and having us grow, because I'm forever in debt to, our whole entire team on having everyone so aligned on, making sure we have a great product with a great experience. And if you could execute those two things, I mean, you're going to have a successful company.
So is there like an end goal, like you're planning to exit, or is like there a line that you're trying to get to? Or is this the lifestyle business? You're going to own this forever and take it off to the sunset?
Not a lifestyle business. This is an anti-lifestyle business. We'll either sell or go public in the next 2 to 4 years is our plan. So we've already, a lot of people know we're actually rolling out vesting interest for leadership. So we're going to have a vesting schedule for, if we get paid, our team's going to get paid. As I just said, we can't do without them. They should get rewarded just as we should. I know we took all the risk at the beginning, but there's no way it would ever get here without these people. And I'm not a greedy person. I'm a sharing person, a giving person, a collaborative person. And all three of us, like, no one even asked. We're like, how do we make sure that they're taken care of too? So this was like an initiative that we put together. No one even asked. It's just something that we felt was the right thing to do, because we're not 100% of this company, and they need to get taken care of as well. Obviously, we pay our people well, but at the same time, if we have a big sale or a big win or go public, they should be celebrating right alongside with us.
Yeah, that's what I know about you as well, is that kind of generosity and giving back. And I think maybe that plays into why you care about the client and the customer so much, and that kind of translates through what you're already doing. I'd like to kind of take a little bit of a pivot to that's what you've been doing, you're building, but you do more than that. You got your own, kind of investor lens to the world, kind of side hustle investors or whatever you want to call it. So what is, like, again, we're, talked about at the beginning, Jesse 2.0, like, what are you doing now and kind of leaning into that's your extra free time when you're not going to 9 figures?
So to be honest, we've actually taken a lot of that stuff off our plates because we have an opportunity we never thought we'd have. So we're pretty hyper focused on the business and the products that we're doing, because we do have a product line and we have new products. So it's just like revving up a new company, you know what I mean? So it's pretty much batch or nothing. But on the investing side, as we've talked about, I do like to dabble and look at some deals to do some, angel investing, to where I could just throw some money at something, forget about it, and hope it pops. Obviously, I like to invest in companies to where I could have some type of value to add, to where I could call the owner with a tip or trick, or, hey, I got someone for you, or, hey, here's a vendor that you may be able to use or sell to. I always want to add value, even if I'm supposed to be a more passive investor. That's just the personality I have. And then the other thing we really do is we own, me and my 2 partners, when we partnered together, I had another partnership that didn't work out so well. So when I had, some PTSD, and, I went through a divorce, and, you have separation agreements and you kind of learn a lot. And I told them, if we're going to be together, you're getting all of me. And if we do anything together, we do everything together. So everything we do outside investing, because it takes away from, if that's taking away from our companies, then you're going to start feeling, if someone else is doing side projects, then you feel like you work for that person and they're able to do other things and create new income. And I kind of went through that, and I really didn't like how that made me feel. And people excluding other people and ownership and focusing on other things. I felt like I was their employee and they were going and doing other stuff, finding other ways to make money. So we do everything together. Any deal. Now we don't have to, but anything that any of us are going to invest in, we have to bring to each other and make those decisions. And if it's a big investment, we can veto it, because if we want to allocate money towards something else, we don't want that person spending that money. But we're pretty well aligned in that. So we do a little bit of that. We also do a big amount of hard money lending. So that's actually very passive for us. We actually just do like a personal guarantee on people that own a lot of real estate assets and put a bunch of seconds on. And they're basically just getting a not a revolving line, but they get a big line that they could go use whatever they want for, and they just pay us every month for it. So it's not attached to a house where we have to keep creating new deeds and all those type of things. Not deeds, but notes. We don't have to create new notes every time they have a transaction. So we do a lot of that. And then this year, I think we've decided to identify, we want to buy some apartments. So we're going to buy probably one apartment that's anywhere from 10 to $20 million to do some costs segregating, so we could depreciate our taxes a little bit, and just start working towards that cash flow. We probably have about 50 doors collectively, but we haven't put a lot of effort into it. And we just want to start buying, 100 units or bigger moving forward, is just buy a couple big stuff here and there in some emerging markets. So we're going to have to do a lot of due diligence on, where we want to do that, and make sure we find the right property management. But we'll buy something pretty turnkey, because, as I said, we're trying to be hyper focused on the opportunity we have in front of us. And I think that's a big problem a lot of entrepreneurs have, is they're trying to have so many businesses instead of, if you have something that you could grow to a huge multiplier and sell, you shouldn't be focused on anything else, in my opinion. Get to that goal. Then when you have that big exit or that IPO, then go play with all the money on all the cash flow stuff that you want to do.
Yeah, I'm part of a mastermind group, and what's interesting is, as it's grown, there's more and more people doing cool and rad stuff. Is you get the the FOMO of, he's doing this super rad thing over there and he's doing that thing over there, and you're just like, I want to do it all. Like, and what I found is, like you, just to reiterate, like sometimes there's a doctor that is really crushing it. He's, she, this instance, because it's a men's mastermind. So he's making over $1 million a year take home, vertical income. And then they're like, well, now I want to do a drop ship thing, and I want to go do this, and I want to go throw that money. And what happens is it takes away from them. And so then they don't make $1 million, they make 800 or 850. But it was exactly that point. Your point is that FOMO of running around, be like, dude, you could take the thing, the skills that you've learned and turn that into $2 million this year.
Right.
There's almost no business thing that you could do on the side that you're going to make an extra mill, on a side hustle. Go do that. And exactly to your point. And then where I have another friend who is a doctor, he's just more disciplined about it. He is only an LP investor. He puts 50 grand a month into LP investments and has been for like the last 4 or 5 years. And so, but he's now doing 75 or 100,000. He just had to find the right sponsors. And then, here's my list of people I would invest in. And he's like, and then every 3 years or 5 years, they're coming back, the checks are coming back with friends. And so exactly that. So he's been able to build his practice. Private equity came in and bought a chunk of it. And now he's going to get a second or third bite at the apple, focusing on him being able to grow the business. So the advice you've given is so spot on. And I feel like everybody's, like, go do everything all at once. And same thing, have some of those same issues. Like, it's like, I want to do everything, but all right, I'm more of a real estate-ish guy. What, on that kind of side hustle, or, dabbling in other things, venture, crypto, NFTs, are you doing anything in that space? And if so, what is it, and what's blowing your hair back?
So I had the PTSD of, 2017, I got murdered in crypto. So I've already seen a cycle. I'm actually waiting for Bitcoin to get under 30. So it's gotten close, but I'm a pretty disciplined investor to where people are just making fun of me, or they're like, how are you not writing this? And I'm like, this is my thing. If I miss the wave, but this is my investment strategy, and I'm gonna be disciplined. When it goes under 30, I'm gonna buy $500,000 and then dollar cost average it monthly. If it doesn't, and I'm wrong, I'm doing just fine, and I'm okay with missing that train. And that's what makes me different from some people, is I'm disciplined. I don't listen. Like, I put together my number, how I want to do it. And if I'm wrong, I'm okay that I'm wrong. And a lot of people don't get that. It's not going to change my life one way or another if Bitcoin doubles or triples. It truly isn't going to. It's just another passive way to make some more money. But at the same time, I have other vehicles that are more predictable that I could put it in. And I don't need a get rich quick scheme, or I don't need to get rich quick, or I don't need to get $1 million quickly. I already have a lot of that stuff. So it's just being disciplined with how I want to do things, and being conservative to where I don't think Bitcoin's going to go to zero. I actually think it's going to go way up, but I think there's going to be market cycles, and everyone has been in this euphoria for way too long. And I'm actually holding on to a lot more cash right now, doing a wait and see. And then people are like, well, inflation. I'm like, that's fine. Like, I could be wrong and you could be right, but I'm not going to I listen to a lot of people. I make a decision and I kind of commit to what strategy I put together, to be honest with you. But NFTs, I think, is a huge bubble. Crypto is not a bubble, but it's very volatile right now with the stock market. I watch the stock market. I have a little bit in stocks, not a ton of money, just, hundreds of thousands, nothing. I'm not playing with something that makes me uncomfortable. And the market has totally taken a shit, and I haven't even looked at my portfolio because it's just there. And I like the stocks that I'm in, and I'll wait for it to rebound. People only lose money when they get scared and pull out. If you keep it in there, it just goes down on your computer. It doesn't necessarily actually go down. So, I'm willing to ride some of the waves and stuff like that, but I'm not investing a lot into crypto or stocks right now. I'm kind of holding some money onto the side. Apartments, I'm comfortable with. Rents are finally going up, and that's an asset class. I think it's going to become a renter's country. So the more real estate you could own, as hedge funds and big companies start driving up prices for that, I just don't think that's going to go away or get hammered quite so hard. So I'm more comfortable in real estate and lending money. And then if the right opportunities arises in crypto, I'm not scared to go hard, but I'm going to be disciplined on waiting until I think it gets to a low enough number to where I can make a nice return and be hedged. If it goes down more, it's not going to kill me. But having these 20, 40, 50%, downshifts in, 3 to 6 month span is just crazy, especially if you're playing with a lot of money. That's just, I don't want to have that on my mind when I could be focusing on just growing my business.
Yeah, I mean, having that investment thesis and having that, plan, and how I can invest into distressed real estate is exactly that, is having a plan. And I think that's the one thing that early investors don't really understand, as far as, whatever your business plan is, only buy apartments, only buy NFTs, only do whatever. I mean, it is, but you need to kind of think out that process and what you're trying to achieve for it, versus just let's throw some money at this and, get rich quick. NFTs are absolutely a bubble. But I also believe they are going to seismically shift everything about businesses moving forward.
Yes, I agree. I think there's application to all of it. I just think there's a lot of bubbles right now, because I really like how you can make an NFT and then have value to it, to where you get special discounts, or you get, like, there's some really cool stuff that you could start doing with it, or people get exclusive access to this or that. It's just no one's following through with these projects right now. They're promising something and then rug pulling and taking a bag, to where, like, I hate to say it, but there needs to be some regulation in some of this stuff, because a lot of people are getting taken advantage of and scammed. And, I just don't like seeing that. And I'm not an expert whatsoever, but I think all of crypto, blockchain, NFTs, and even the metaverse and all the digital real estate, I believe in all of it. I just don't know enough yet, and I don't know if it's a bubble yet, to where if I get in later and don't make as much, I'm okay with it. But I just need to know more, and I don't have the time to know as much as I need to know to comfortably invest, because I don't want to be that person that hears from two people and blindly invests, and then you make a huge mistake. I've done that before. The first time with crypto in 2017, it's like I would just listen to somebody on the internet and blindly follow them because they seem to know what they're talking about. And you need to make your own decisions. You need to do your own research. You can't blame anyone but yourself when you make a bad investment, to be completely honest with you. And a lot of people like to blame or be victimized, but at the same time, your greed is the one that's making you do these things, and you need to hold yourself accountable to doing something risky if that's the decision you make.
Yeah, and I like some of the things that you talked about, as far as the investment, also segmenting that out, siloing out, as far as, so yeah, I invested in, I think it was probably 2017, as far as in crypto and other things like that, but I never sold. And so I was like, and now it's up 10x, it's like, it was just the diamond hands. I was treating this like I treat venture capital, or see, like, I'm just like, I'm putting this money here. If it goes to zero, okay, I'm not going to be, missing meals, feeding my kids. Right. If it goes to $1 gazillion, well, I might sell if it's $1 gazillion. But I was like, if it goes up, and it was a wild ride. Like, it was a lot, and then nothing, and then a lot, and then nothing. And it was just like, yeah, I'm not selling. This is just the way that I was placing some allocation of funds. And the same thing with the NFT stuff is 99% of it. And really, I believe this is the truest form of capitalism in its, pure, people are getting scammed. Yep, you're getting scammed. You are thing, it is, full on out there, and there's going to be a bubble burst. There will be a correction. There will be the .com. You put hundreds of millions of dollars between anything that, put a .com on it, right. And be like,
I know the same thing. And
yeah, exact same thing. It's just history will repeat itself, or at least rhyme and look very similar. It's right. In a new version of the world, and probably going to be to a magnitude greater, in my opinion. But Amazon.com got started in 99 during that era.
Yep.
There is going to be some company or many companies that get created that actually follow through and build platform companies within this. And exactly what you're doing already, almost like the SaaS component of these smart contracts, that this reoccurring revenue that you sell it once, but then every time it sells again, you're getting 10%. I was like, I think creatively, however you can structure some of these things in so many different ways. And the point that you brought on, the utilitarian value of it is what needs to be. And I feel like so many people are doing just the collectible, like who gives a crap, like, a pixelated picture,
That's just not art to me. People are like, I don't get it. And that's when, if I don't get it, and I may be stupid, but I just don't get it. So I don't invest in it. And I don't care if it can make me a bunch of money, but like, I don't understand. Like, I understand there's artists and there's some incredible people, but like everything is just being sold and touted. And you have influencers, pumping something or talking about something. And I'm sure some of these really rare collections that are already worth a lot are going to be super successful in the future, but like, I don't know what to buy now. And I don't have the time to really vet out everything. So I'm just waiting to see. I'm waiting and seeing. As I said, I'm not trying to get rich quick. I'm happy getting rich slow and understanding something before I make a decision. I don't have to be the earliest adopter. I mean, I was pretty early on Bitcoin, and the only reason why I sold my stuff was I think I kept it for another year as it just stayed dormant. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I could use this. I think I had 20 or 30 grand left. And I was like, I could just use this to flip houses. And on this money, I'll make, over 100% a year on, flipping through and through houses. And that was kind of my justification. So I really didn't lose. I actually, until it went up, I made so much money on that 20, 30 grand on turning it through, fix and flips and marketing for wholesale deals. I actually made a bunch of money on it. People just don't look at it like that. So I don't think I made a mistake. I just applied the money elsewhere and had it work for me somewhere else. And it did make me a bunch of money because you have a high velocity when you put it into your business. It could be extra marketing that I was spending with that money. And my return on investment is very high there. It's just active money, not passive money, but I was able to make money using it.
So we touched on briefly, you're sitting on cash. I have some friends that have, moved to cash in 2020, like heavy cash, and then have just been sitting there, and they're just sitting there and they're like, it's going to crash at any minute. It's going to crash in any minute. And I check in on them every once in a while. How's it going? They're like, any minute, it's going to crash. So like, where are you in the world? Call that macroeconomics or real estate or, some of the other things. Like, dive into just your mindset. What are you thinking? What are you reading? What are you seeing that you see happening moving forward? I know that we dove into NFTs, but the greater influence of what BatchLeads, what's you do on a personal level in real estate investing?
What do I do? So like, what do I see? I see, like when I say I'm sitting on cash, a lot of the cash I sit on, I don't sit on for long. I invest it with the hard money. So I do a lot of hard money. When I say I'm sitting on cash, I am and I'm not. We have a lot of money out to, big friends that have lots of assets. So that's where I'm most comfortable with it, because I know that they're not over leveraged and they could pay the money. And we have like a 90-day clause for either side to take it. We could take it back or they could give it back. Because right now I'm just still not super comfortable with anything. I don't love stocks. I don't love crypto. I think real estate is expensive. Now, if you can find the right deals in the right markets, that's fine. But I'm not just buying to buy. Like we were going to start buying Airbnbs and everything blew up so much. I was like, it's inflated. Now I really don't like the returns. We're going to buy. I thought commercial was going to crash, in 2020, and everything's went through the roof. So we're basically just lending right now, to be honest with you, to big players for them to grow their portfolios. And then I have a couple friends to where I'm gonna invest in some of their syndications and funds. Since I don't have the time, I could help them raise some of the money to get me some points there, and then put some money in there and get some tax savings there. And then, as we've talked about, I'm trying to find more places to just put some private equity and leave it there and hope the company booms. And I like putting, 2 or 3 of those out a year, anywhere from 50 to 200 grand. I have no problem doing that. I just like having little pieces everywhere, to be honest with you, to be leveraged or to be hedged against, a bunch of different things. And I'm not a super sophisticated investor, to be completely honest with you. I try and make the right decisions and make sure my money is working for me in some capacity. But I'm no genius when it comes to investing. I'm just pretty smart at being conservative and still getting good returns, if that makes sense. And I'm not scared to take a risk either, but I don't just try and blindly throw money around. But I love the startups where you throw 100K and 5 years later you get $1 million back. If you do enough of those and you pick, some good horses, that's the true passive money, in my opinion. Is like nothing's passive. After you vet them out and you throw it in, it's truly passive if you're not on the board. Like they're going to sell or they're not. You're going to get something or you're not. But you do enough of those little nuggets. I think that's a really good business model, especially if you have a lot of money and you're, passively investing now, or you don't want to do too much and manage a portfolio, or you want to do a little bit more than stocks. And I think it's fun. I'm a gambler at heart. I used to, once upon a time, try and be a professional gambler when I was like 18 to 22. So I just think that excites me, and like the little gamble in me likes to do that stuff too.
Yeah, that's I think you just hit the nail on the head. I call alternative investments is where the game is. If you're just trying to get in on the S&P 500, you're just trying to park your money. Ultimately, you're losing. You're losing. You're treading water, and so
I think it depends on how much if you have some good coin saved up, I would hedge against a few things. But a lot of people are never going to do that. Write a $50,000 check. As I said, I'm just a gambler, so I don't think it's for everybody. I'm not a gambler, but like I like the excitement of doing that and believing in someone and hoping my intuition about their business and their personality is right. But a lot of people that are just making, these are for high net worth people, in my opinion. If you're not a high net worth person, like that's where I think the S&P and doing that is the smart way to do it. But that's also not going to get you filthy rich, but it could leave you with a nice nest egg to where, you could retire at, a decent time. But I'm not trying to retire when I'm 60. I'm trying to retire when I'm 40.
Dude, that's awesome. I wanted to dive into a few things: books, mindset, or coaching, or masterminds. Like what is it that has unlocked some of these keys for you? Like you said, you didn't start as a tech entrepreneur. You didn't start at the SaaS. You were wanted to be a golf pro, poker pro, but so what did you do, along your path, and what were some of those like key things that you did? Any one of those, or several of them that you come to mind when along that journey?
So books changed my life. I'm not a reader, but I do audibles. I do 30 to 50 a year. Probably about that. I'm not the biggest reader, but I definitely read more than most. And I watch a lot on YouTube when I'm trying to learn something. I think that's another great resource. And listening to podcasts. Podcasts are good. They're normally more storytelling. Like I like books or audibles because like you're really learning what you're trying to learn. Like a podcast normally is giving you a surface level. I want to know some strategy. I know some of it's dry, especially in business, but you have to spend that time. And, sometimes those audibles, that's work time. It's not something that excites you or motivates you, but it's something that gives you what you need. And it motivates me to where I'm able to bring a new idea to the business by reading through or listening to this dry material. But it's something that will just resonate and click a spark in me. And I'm like, wow, I was like, I never thought of it that way. And books has been a huge thing. Mentors have been a huge thing. So we kind of, in Phoenix, there's a group of us that really like 3-4 years ago, as we're all coming up, started collaborating together, having quarterly stuff. And we all just grew and exploded and pushed each other. And they all, it's not necessarily a mastermind or a mentorship, but it's more of a collection of, like 8 dudes and a chick, which one of the girls is my partner, to where we've just really helped push. And I go to each of them for different stuff that they could mentor me on life or on business or on sales. There's such a collective of knowledge. I've been able to tap into each of them for certain things. And that really changed my life with some mindset stuff and with some business stuff and how you treat people and how you become a leader. And, and there, a lot of them are fathers. And if I'm going to be a father one day, to look at them as, and they come to me for stuff too, which is incredible. But that really changed the trajectory for me, as well as the kind of the little group that we built on collaborating and caring about each other and helping each other. That definitely changed my life. And then I have a few consultants / mentors that we have that have been game changer for me as well. So those have really been the big things that have really helped me, because I didn't know anything, so I had to learn a lot quickly. And reading and finding the right group of people, and then the right consultants that have done stuff you haven't done yet, because I've been able to help and mentor people in real estate because I've done so many deals. What you're really teaching somebody is what not to do, not what to do. I've already made that mistake, don't make it. And that's what's really helped us a lot. Or, hey, you're going to need to switch to Salesforce for your CRM. You need to stop waiting, because you're inevitably going to get there, and you need to trust me. And we used to be very slow to saying our business is special. Now we're like, you're right, this is going to suck. Let's go attack this and fix this part of the business on mistakes that we made. So having people help us that have already been there has been super helpful as well.
So I want to put a little bookmark right where that last little statement, the what not to do kind of component. But I'd like to go back and what are some of those books that were impactful for you, so that we can give some little nuggets to those that are listening to the podcast as what were they, or any that you do remember?
Yeah. Go Giver is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it every single year. And they have a few books now where I've read most of them. I just love the storytelling of the Go Giver books. If you're trying to grow a business and have problems aligning your leadership, the 5 Dysfunctions of Leadership is a great book as well. For creating better habits, Atomic Habits, I read every single year too, because I always get stuff out of it and it helps bring that stuff back to me. And then I have so many I could tell you. Let me think. One more. The one that really changed for our business is Measure What Matters. It's a book on OKRs, which is objectives and key results. So a lot of people do EOS or traction. I think that stuff's garbage. Like the Googles, the Amazons are all on OKRs. It really aligns your business, and it's really hard to do. It's a simple model, but it's super challenging to where, you have to have an objective. So I want to get to this much revenue this year, but you actually have to break down every single thing and everyone that's responsible for you getting there. So the planning takes forever, but everyone has the ultimate goal and everyone's aligned, and then they feel important on their part of helping get there. It's really hard to execute, but it definitely changed our business to where there's no way we'd be there if we didn't start implementing this about a year ago. No fucking way.
That's awesome. So I've read those. I have not read the 5 Dysfunctions of leadership. So I'm gonna have to put that one there. But all those other books, I 100% agree with. I've read them, and they're like, you're just like same thing, or EOS or traction or rocket fuel and all those other things. And there's a whole lot of them in that category of business systems, and depending on where you are and what your plan is.
But they just give you, like, you have a rock, right? Or you have a goal, but no one is aligned to that goal. I think it's archaic, and I can't believe it's still being taught, because you could put KPIs around people, but they still don't know the goal and how they're tied into that goal. And I think it's like, if I'm gonna do one thing, I'm gonna shout that. Like I'm at there's a mastermind in town. It's called Investor Fuel right now, and everyone is on EOS or traction. And I'm just like, you guys, like, I feel bad because I don't think it's the right way. I believe in it so much. And I know so many other big businesses that do it this way. And for some reason in real estate, no one knows about it. And I could probably create a $10 to $20 million coaching business on it, but I just don't have the time.
One of the things you said earlier that I put the bookmark in is what not to do, or, kind of the guidance. That is one of the biggest things that is an evolution of myself. Is like, I was really good at making mistakes and then learning from those mistakes.
Right.
That's a very tried and true method from learning about things. And it's a very effective. You learn when you go lose money. But now it's like wisdom, mentorship, a lot of those things that you layered in is like, don't go do this because of, and maybe it's not even sometimes explained, but just
don't do it.
Like, you trust that person. If you trust that they're giving you and guiding you in the right direction, they're giving you wisdom of what not to do. And it's back to like Warren Buffett's adage of don't lose money is rule number one. Or don't lose your money. Rule number two is see rule number one. It's kind of like this circular logic. It's like that same thing. Don't do that. Or guess what? You got to go do to Salesforce, because here's the path that you're going to go on. The sooner you start, it's going to be painful. I just want to, highlight that advice that you gave, because that is so significant to when you're looking to grow and scale beyond just, somebody called it, I heard it, the bro company, where we just were randomly doing a business together. And I was like, I've had lots of those businesses where we're just like, hey, let's do a business. Like, yeah.
Broco. I like
Broco. And yeah. And then it was like, but now it's like, wait, time is our most precious commodity. Money's fake. We can make more money. I cannot make time. I cannot make more time of it. And as that is so very precious, that wisdom, that little nugget that you dropped, what not to do, is the most important thing that I think people need to understand, because it exponentially opens up your possibilities and versus the trial and error.
Yeah, I agree. And you could ask why, but they shouldn't have to give you all the reasons. It's more like, because this, that, and the other, but trust me, I don't need to explain all of it, but this is where we have to go. And we've learned to just be like, okay, and these are, don't just blindly trust some new person, but this is trusted advisors that have proved themselves, or mentors that we've gotten to know. And now when they're consulting saying we need a big change to be made, we're not really questioning it. We're like, okay, like, why does this have to be made? Counterpoint them. And then they're like, okay, this is why. And then you're like, all right, let's do it. So it's just, don't blindly follow. Well, sometimes I do, because I have some incredible mentors, but I'll ask questions and be like, well, we want to do it this way because I'm like, well, no, that will fail that. And then I stop asking a bunch of questions, because I'm like, all right, they've already been through what I'm about to go through. I don't need to ask every reason and get validation. Like, let's go do this, and let's do it the right way.
Yeah. And that's, like you said, experience. If somebody's done what you're trying to do, that's the other thing, as far as, the consultants or mentors or the other things. Like, if someone's done what you're trying to do, don't go reinvent the wheel. And they're like saying, don't do this, or part of the thing, this is how you get to your exit. Is like, I exited my company for $150 million in this type of business. And they said, this is X, Y, and Z. And you're like, okay, like, that makes sense. Maybe you have different gradient versions because your business is slightly different, but it's like,
but it's not. And that's what I've learned. Yeah. It's not. And don't have an ego to think I could do it better than them. They're trying to give you advice to help you and make you successful. And I've learned to be like, I've always said we're different and unique. We're not. We've actually just made our products difficult and had too many products where we need to absorb products. And we've had people tell us, like, well, no, we don't need it that way, because our industry is like this. And they're like, no, it's not. Like, you're lead generation. Like, stop trying to act like you're special. And I'm like, but we are. Like, no, you're not. I'm like, fuck. Okay, we're not.
That's so interesting, because I've recently, I do, a lot of commercial real estate. And so I was the young, naive, real estate investor in Arizona in the early 2000s. And I was aping into deals, over leveraging, going, what, you'll give me 105%? Like, this is awesome. What could ever go wrong? And I was like, but I bought them at a discount. Robert Kiyosaki. I was, I'd hang around his offices and his studio and things like that. And some of the people, and they're like, hey man, young guy, young buck, slow down. The market doesn't always go up forever. Part of the thing I was like, well, you just don't understand. I'm super smart. And, it's different this time. My mom said, I am a really unique, special snowflake. And I believe that. And so that just means, that nothing can go wrong. I was wrong. They were right. And now I see some of these things, exactly to your point, people aping into like net lease deals, signing multi-million-dollar personal guarantees on, things like CVS's with 3 years left on the lease. And like, they're just so queuing themselves up. And I actually put together a due diligence course because I was like, I just feel like I'm the salty old dog now that's like, be cautious. Don't get run over crossing the street, whatever that is. And it's like, I'm not that old, but at least I've seen some of the cycles going through. So I'd love to wrap up here. What are some things that people can bring of value to you? What are you looking for? Maybe it's, investment opportunities or connections or the next enterprise software client for batch services. And then where can people find you?
Yeah, I would love to, if anybody watches this that is looking for any data solutions pertaining to residential or commercial real estate on the enterprise side, I'd love to connect with you. Or if you have built a business on the enterprise data side, love to talk to you, because that's the new space that I'm learning. I'm not claiming to be an expert or know everything. That's like the new thing that I'm having to dive into books and find the right mentors for that. Because we're a smaller business lead generation side right now for our other products. So these new products, it's been interesting and fun to learn. But as I said, I'm always eager to pick at someone that's already done it, so they could tell me what not to do and give me some advice to make sure we're trending towards the right track. I love to invest in startups. So if anyone has a startup, reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to you. And the easiest way to find me on social, not really do Facebook anymore. It's not on my phone. Don't get on it. Should probably just cancel it. But Instagram is just my first and last name, Jesse Burrell. Shoot me a DM on IG. That's probably the one social that, I do any type of checking on, but that's the best way to get a hold of me for sure.
Awesome. Well, everybody, again, knowledge in there. It's so many knowledge drops in there. Super excited for you getting a chance to wrap up and check out Jesse and what he is building. And we'll have to maybe check in a couple of years, see if you got to 9 figures.
I'd love to.